Welcome to Dodge and Burning in Photoshop. So the first thing I'm going to go through is what dodge and burn is. Dodge is making the image lighter and burn just makes the image darker. There's many ways to do dodge and burning in Photoshop. So for today's video, I'm just going to focus on the method I prefer, and I'll explain why and the tools and techniques on how to do it, I guess. So the tools that you'll need to dodge and burn using my method is 1. The brush tool, 2. Curve adjustments, and 3. Layer masks. So I'll explain them all individually. So for the brush tool, it's B, or you just go to the toolbar and just drop down to find the brush tool. For the purposes of dodge and burning, we kind of want a soft brush, so the opacities, depending on what you're kind of painting over, it'll be low like 20 or like 10 to like maybe 50ish, and then the flow keep it around like 50 or a bit under 50. Doesn't really matter as long as it doesn't create like a huge streak of line. And for curves, we're using this because for when you're dodging, you just you make a curves adjustment that just was maybe like that brightens the image, and when you're burning, you just drag it down. You can already see that we're getting this really nice contrast slash dark kind of tones as you drop the curves. And the reason why I like curves is you can see how much you want to add. So if you want something really dark, it's like that, but you can't really this should be kind of done maybe at the end. So something like that, you can already see we're getting this really moody kind of contrast and tones already in the image. And layer masks. So for layer masks, it's like a covering. When you cover the when we use layer masks, we cover up the image, and then we kind of use and then we kind of choose what I guess shows up in the image. So for dodge and burning purposes, I'm just gonna show you a quick example. So this is the without the curve, and this is with the curve. But once we add a layer mask, which is for short, you just Command Delete if you're on a Mac, and for Windows it's Control, I think. This will fill the layer with black, and how this works is if it's black, or if the layer mask is black or completely black, all the details on that layer is hidden from the image, and if it's completely white, everything is showing. So we're gonna use this to dodge and burn. So we're gonna and also another way to fill the layer mask with either black or white is Shift Delete, which brings up a fill window, and just go into the contents, and there's black, 50% gray, and white. If it's 50% gray, it just means the whole layer is I guess 50% opacity. So half whatever the layer is kind of showing over the layer under it. So for us, we're just gonna do black. Alright, so let's get started, I guess. So we'll need 2 curves. So we just go down to here. The little circle was the kind of like the half-filled circle, and then we just select curves. So we'll have 2 curves. One we'll name dodge, And for dodge, we're gonna raise the line, and same thing, shift delete or command delete or control delete, and just select block. And for curved one, since we already adjusted it, this is gonna be dot burn. And before we get started, we need to understand lighting, because once we know this, it'll make dodge and burning the image a lot easier. Or unless you want to kind of reveal a specific area where it's kind of against lighting, like so. In this case, we can see that the light's kind of coming from here, so it's kind of like shooting like that. It's like kind of all like that, right? So areas that are gonna get lit up are probably somewhere like here. The clouds, the clouds are getting a lot of light. And then some places like there where we can kind of, I'll show you later. And areas that's gonna be dark, I'll mark with blue. So somewhere, anything that's kind of like facing away from that direction. So something like that here. Like somewhere here, here, here. And then for the rocks, it's gonna be like anywhere that's kind of like facing away, which is like these ones, right? Something like that. So this is what we'll probably do. I'll since dodge and burning can take a lot of time, I'll just focus on every area. I mean, like a part of each area, so you guys understand the gist of it. I think what I'll show is I'll probably dodge and burn the mountains here, the clouds, and maybe something like here and some of the rocks and the water, I guess. So I guess let's get started. When I dodge and burn, I like to use a lot of curve adjustments. So this is only gonna be like one small change. I'm gonna add more and more to it to create the kind of the contrasting mood I tend to like. So let's start with the mountain first. Let's give it a nice, maybe let's go 35, 35. So we go to the brush tool or B. What we'll be doing is we'll be painting over the areas where the sunlight's kind of hitting. So just start kind of brushing it. I'm gonna try to do this pretty quickly since I don't want to spend too much time just me painting over like random things and you guys just watching this. I want to try to make this video as content specific and productive as possible. So I guess I'll for you, normally I would do like 30, but I'm doing around 50 to kind of quicken the process. So you quickly just paint over it like that. So you see that these edges are kind of facing the sun, but there's edges that are kind of facing away, so try to avoid those. Just be careful, but I'm just trying to quickly get it done. And then you see that this edge kind of thing is also facing the sun, so you would probably paint over those areas as well. So something like this. This is just a quick demonstration. When you're doing it yourself, try to take more time and kind of get into the details. The thing about painting mountains is there's a lot of edges and there's a lot of kind of structures where it's a lot more 3D, or a lot more kind of, there's areas where it's kind of facing away from the sun and areas that's kind of facing the sun. So if you take your time to dodge and burn a mountain, you can really bring the details out, especially especially like areas like these. You can just like, once you just paint over, you kind of starting to get that three-dimensional factor ish. And what I love about dodge and burning is you can bring out all the details, or you can bring out specific parts of the details that the eye wouldn't usually focus on if you just maybe like did a global adjustment. And once you get used to this, you can probably do it in 30 minutes. So it's not that time consuming. And your work just looks completely different, I guess. So that's for the mountains. We'll do a quick before and after. So something like that. And now we're gonna burn. So we're gonna kind of bring out the mountain, essentially. So anywhere that's kind of the shadows, so somewhere like that. Yeah, 50 is very strong. So. One sec. Alright. So anywhere it's kind of where the shadows are, kind of, so like that. Where the shadows are. So you can see, now you're kind of giving it that structure. It's kind of, I guess, coming out now. And for here, you can tell that this part is kind of not facing the sun, so it's kind of, so you kind of darken it a bit. Just do that. Let's do that. So you're kind of doing that. So we're doing something like that. So just creating that contrast, which also creates this three-dimensional, and kind of it helps the image pop and feel a lot more structure. So you can see here that there might be something like that. So as you add more shadows or making it darker, you kind of get to see it more, it becomes more prominent. And this whole area kind of feels a bit light, so just paint the whole thing kind of like that. Or something like that. Alright. So I'm gonna group it and we're gonna have a look. So that's the before and that's the after. So you're slowly getting that structured kind of feel. Alright, so moving on to the clouds. You can see that a lot of the clouds are already really exposed here, so what I would do here is, I guess I'll show you how to do individual clouds, and I'll show you what I would do for this particular situation. So individual clouds, clouds need a pretty low opacity, because if you do like, let's say 40%, like you can see a pretty big change. So I would usually do maybe 20-ish, because you don't want it to be too big of a difference, so just try to be as subtle as possible. So something like that. The thing is, the key to dodge and burning is to do it bit by bit. That's what I find. You don't want to try to finish the entire thing with one layer. I like to do maybe like 10 different dodge layers, and 10 different burn layers. But since this video, I don't want to take too long. I'm doing it. I'm doing maybe like 3 layers and I'm doing like three adjustments maybe in 1 layer. So um, the effects might be a little too noticeable right now. And yeah, so just kind of dab it anywhere that's kind of brighter than the other areas in the clouds. I would kind of just um, paint over using the dodge layer. And afterwards, since there's a lot of lines I find, I'm just gonna maybe do that a couple times. Just paint along the lines. Just to amplify the effect. Something like that. And now we'll go to the rocks. So for the rocks, actually, yeah, let's go do the rocks first. So for the rocks, we could maybe go a bit higher, like let's say 46 or something like that. Just paint the areas where it's kind of facing the sun. Because why we're doing the rocks is the light. We're gonna use kind of the light shining on the rocks to guide the viewer's eyes into the overall image. So just do something like that. So when you're doing it, be a lot more careful and spend a bit more time. I'm just doing it quickly to kind of show the general process of how to do this, I guess. And once we are done the rocks, you would do the water. So it's like just paint over kind of like the where the kind of the sun is shining on, and maybe if you want, yeah, do something like that to just kind of now it's for the viewer to kind of look into, I guess. And now I'll show you. Now we're gonna burn, so paint areas where it's kind of where the sun's kind of not shining, so you're giving it that contrast now, something like that. And now the rocks are beginning to really kind of stand out versus before. And after like doing maybe 2 or 3 layers of dodge and burning these rocks, they're gonna really stand out. But here's, you can already kind of feel the areas are, the rocks are slowly getting more of that structure and kind of, yeah, so there's something like that. So this is what we have so far. So the overall image now, I'll just do a quick dodge burn for the sides as well. So this part, let's make it a bit darker, something like that, because we want kind of like the layers between the first kind of mountain area and the second one and the third one. So we're gonna make the first one a lot darker than the other ones. So something like that. And the water, you can see that the sun's probably, like this part's not really getting much sunlight, so we'll just make this part a bit darker. And the clouds, alright, so clouds we'll just do a quick paint. So for dodging the clouds, just paint over kind of the darker areas, I guess. So something like that. Alright. So that's generally the first layer of dodge and burn. I normally do a lot more, but to save some time, I'm just gonna do the rest myself and skip to about when I'm almost done, and I'll show you how to kind of finish the image with dodge and burn. Yeah, so I spent some time and did a did some quick dodge and burning and kind of giving this image the mood. So um what I did was I kind of lowered the overall um brightness of the shadows and highlights all by a tiny bit, especially the areas that kind of went the most dark were probably areas like here. I just dropped it so we got that kind of that dark kind of mood, and I raised a lot of highlights somewhere like here. So at this point we're pretty much pretty close to being finished. So I'm gonna show you how to um I guess do some final touch-ups with dodge and burn. Again, we're going to go to the curves, make 2 of them, and we'll do the same thing. We'll name one dodge and another one burn. Command delete to make the both dark, filled. Command delete to make both the layer masks black. So in this case, I think what we'll be doing is we're gonna make these light streaks more visible. So we're just gonna paint it something like that. Paint it bit by bit, because we kind of want the light to shine through. Give the clouds a bit more brightness. And then we're gonna bring a bit more separation into this mountain to kind of just give it that more depth kind of feel, and then give some of these rocks kind of a tad bit brighter, something like this. Because you want them to ultimately guide the viewer's eyes into this image. And now we'll give the mountain we'll give the this part a bit more brightness. So make a small brush and just start painting in the tiny details. Just to don't have to do it too much. It's just a tiny bit of making it a bit brighter, just so the eyes will kind of focus on it, I guess. And what I did to get to this point was probably, it took maybe 7, 8 more curves. So you kind of have that, and then here we'll give it like a tiny bit, just to make it stand out. Something like that. And I'm doing this very, very quick, so the details and all that's probably not that great. So I'll add another dodge. I'll add another dodge layer to just increase the rocks. I feel like the rocks are very important here, so we'll just slowly increase that, kind of, something like that. And then this might be a bit too strong, so we'll just kind of see what looks natural, I guess. I feel like you can also kind of give it like an S curve as well, just so everything kind of blends, because sometimes you're painting over the darker areas, so you kind of want those to go down. So this is like tiny touch-ups, something like that. And then for the last burn, it's also the rocks. Just paint over the shadows as well. just make it a bit more dark, because you want kind of the contrast to direct um direct the attention into the kind of like the water, and the water kind of goes into the sky. It's not that obvious, cause yeah, so something like this, and we're pretty much done. So I'll show you the before and after. So this tiny little bit of adjustment, you can already see a huge difference. And for the overall before and after, this was the before image, which only undergone through camera raw and a bit of tone and sharpening. And this is the after, once you dodge and burn it. You can tell that in here, the eyes you're kind of looking at the entire image. But once you're finished dodge and burning, you kind of choose where the viewer kind of looks at. So it's more kind of here, here, and here. That's generally how you dodge and burn. The key is to practice. The more you practice, you'll kind of know where to dodge and burn. When I first started, I spent maybe like 5 or 6 hours trying to dodge and burn an image, but now it takes maybe 20 minutes if you want it as quick as possible. But if you want good kind of details, maybe 40 minutes ish. So yeah, um, I can there's more advanced stuff for dodge and burning, which I'll probably get to in future videos, but I think this is all I will cover for an introductory video to dodge and burning. Since this is my first few videos, I probably made a lot of mistakes, or the way I talk, or I'm using like a Beats headphone mic. So yeah, if there's any questions or confusion, just let me know in the comments. I'll try to reply that. And if there's any suggestions on how I should improve or how I should do these videos, please also comment and let me know. Hope you guys found this video helpful, and I'll probably be dropping a video every Sunday. So if there's any recommendations on what I should do for these video tutorials, just also leave a comment and I'll have a look. Thanks so much for watching, and cheers.